Welcome to Industrial Organization and Psychology, and for this day, we're going to talk about the employee motivation. Still your lecturer, Angela M. de Monteverde, and this will be the overview. Is the employee predisposed to being motivated? Have the employee's values and expectations been met? Do employees have achievable goals? Are employees receiving feedback on their progress? Are employees receiving feedback on their goal progress? Are employees rewarded for achieving goals? Are rewards and resources given equitably? And are other employees motivated? And also integration of motivation theories. Those are the overview of this topic. And session and goals, we should know the types of people who tend to be motivated than others. Learn how to motivate people through goal setting. Understand the importance of providing feedback. So we're going to talk about also why giving a feedback is important or necessary to become as an HR professional or IO psychologist to the employee. We will be able to use the operant conditioning principles to motivate employees, understand the importance of treating employees fairly, and we will be able to know the types of individual and organizational incentive that best motivate employees. Okay, so number one question for this one would be, what is motivation? So according to the book of Ahmad, motivation is the internal force that drives an employee to perform well. Okay? So, in regards to the motivation, all employees or different individual who are working has a different motivation. And we're going to talk about for this topic what gives an employee a motivation to do a certain task. Is it only for pay? Or is there any other factors that affecting in regarding to motivation? Next, for us to be able to motivate the employee, we should also know the traits or the ocean, the openness, consciousness, extroversion, agreeableness, or the and neuroticism, the big five personality traits. Why is this important to understand and to know? On the first lesson, we have a topic regarding on the selection of an employee, right? And different employee has different motivation, how they will be motivated regarding to work. And while giving or providing a test, the self-inventory test, and other kind of test or that different kind of traits of an individual, yung mga attitude nila, kung more on extraversion ba ang tao, introvert ba siya, we should also know these types of traits na napopossess ng isang empleyado so that we can address what kind of motivation that we should provide to them. Okay? And in regards to motivation, self-esteem is the extent to which a person views himself as valuable and worthy. Okay, so with this kind of definition, according to Corman, he theorized that high self-esteem are more motivated and will perform better than employees who have low self-esteem. So meaning to say, kung mataas ang self-esteem ng isang empleyado, ay mas magagawa or maging motivated siya with a certain task. Okay? So, that is why number one goal natin for this lesson would be, how are we going to motivate the employees? What are the different kinds of motivation that we could provide to these employees? Okay? Also, according to Carman, there is a positive correlation between self-esteem and performance. That is, employees who feel good about themselves are motivated to perform better at work than employees who do not feel that they are valuable. So meaning to say, kung mas mataas ang self-esteem ng isang tao, ay ibig sabihin nun, mas mataas din kanyang performance as what I was saying earlier. Kung mababa naman, sorry for this one, this must be high self or high performance. Okay? So, if the employee has low self-esteem, mababa din ang maging outcome ng kanyang performance. So, that is according to consistency or consistency theory of Corman. So, dapat sinasaalang-alang natin kung anong klase ng empleyado yung gusto nating motivate, and also bakit? Kasi kailangan natin yun para mas tumaas yung performance nila sa workplace, and also para mabigyan natin sila ng tamang gabay. Next, we have chronic self-esteem. So what does it mean? Okay? Person's overall feeling about himself. Okay, so in regards to this one, kung paano tingnan ng isang tao ang kanyang self-esteem, okay? So that is under of consistency theory. Kung nakikita niya sarili niya na mababa ang kanyang self-esteem, ibig sabihin, yung maging performance niya is mababa din. Okay? Also, situational self-esteem. It is the person's feeling about himself in particular situation. Halimbawa, nilagay natin sa isang employee sa isang task na alam niya sa sarili lang magagawa niya or kaya niya. However, that's yung situational self-esteem niya in regards dun sa new setting could be, okay, ay hindi ganun katibay, hindi magagawa ng employee yung performance sa kailangan or inaasahan natin para sa kanya. So, kailangan sa situation self-esteem, mabigyan natin siya ng tamang gabay. Okay? Ma-motivate natin yung employee na kaya niya gawin yung isang bagay na yun. We also have social influence self-esteem. It is how a person feels about himself on the basis of expectation of others. Okay? So, with this definition, ibig sabihin, nakaka-apekto yung pagtingin ng ibang tao sa performance ng taong gumagawa. Okay? So, for example, an employee might be low in chronic self-esteem but very high in situational self-esteem. Okay? So, that is, a computer programmer might believe that he is a terrible person whom nobody likes. Okay? So, but because of that, he felt that he can program a computer better than anyone else. Okay? So, pwedeng mababa yung overall performance mo, yung chronic self-esteem mo, pero mataas ka sa situational self-esteem. Okay? So, with that example, halimbawa daw, ang isang computer programmer ay mababa ang feeling niya ng self-esteem sa kanyang sarili. However, naniniwala siya or mataas yung situational self-esteem niya na kaya niya daw gawin yung bagay na yun, yung pagkakalikot ng computer or pag-aayos ng computer. So, meaning to say, kahit na mababa ang self-esteem or tingin niya sa pagkatao niya, kung mataas naman yung self-esteem niya in regards to sa certain situation, magagawa niya na maayos yung isang bagay. Okay? So another factor is pwedeng mataas or pwedeng kabaligtaran naman yung mangyari. Okay? So, mataas ang tiwala niya sa sarili niya, pero pagdating naman dun sa actual situation is mababa naman yung pagtingin niya o yung self-esteem niya sa ganong bagay. Okay? So, next one. We have self-esteem workshop. So, it's the employees employees can attend workshops in which they are given insights into their strengths. Okay, so para daw mapataas natin, example would be in self-esteem training program, or we have called the Enchanted Selves, okay, or the Enchanted Self. Dito sa self-esteem workshop, binibigyan natin ng kakayahan yung isang empleyado na parang mapataas yung kanyang self-esteem, yung pagtingin niya sa kanyang sarili. Okay? So, we have also the Enchanted Self. The Enchanted Self, according to Holstein, okay, employees try to increase their self-esteem by learning how to think positively, discovering the positive qualities that may have gone unnoticed, and sharing their positive qualities with others. Okay? So, with this one, kailangan malaman ng empleyado, or binibigyan natin yung isang empleyado ng Enchanted Self, or pinapataas natin yung kanyang pagiging rationalize sa isang scenario or sa isang bagay. Next one, we're done talking about the employee, or how we're going to provide a certain training dun sa employee. Pwede tayo magbigay ng self-esteem workshop, okay, and other factors na hindi na natin tinakil. Okay, so in accordance to that, we have experience with success. So, with the experience with success approach, an employee is given a task too easy that he will almost certainly succeed. It is thought that this success increases self-esteem, which should increases performance, which further increases self-esteem, which further increases performance, and so on. Okay? This method is based on the self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay? Nasasabi, ang individual daw ay makakapag-perform na, or which states that an individual will perform as well or as poorly as he expects to perform. Ibig sabihin, sa self-fulfilling prophecy niya, ay kung nakikita niya ang sarili niya, okay, na hindi niya kaya mag-perform, ibig sabihin, hindi niya magagawa yung isang bagay. Saan ba kung nakikita niya sarili niya na kaya niya mag-perform, magagawa niya yung isang bagay. Saan ba nanggaling ang idea na self-fulfilling prophecy? Nanggaling ang self-fulfilling prophecy sa tinatawag nating Galatea effect. When we say Galatea effect, it is your thought or perception of success can shape your performance. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, this is not only for supervisor, by the way. This is also applicable most of the time with the employee. Kung nakikita ng employee na hindi niya kaya gawin yung isang yung performance or yung certain task, hindi niya nga ito magagawa. So, your perception could affect your performance. Kung nakikita mo na kaya mong gawin ang isang task or isang scenario, okay, or mataas ang self-esteem mo with that certain things, it could be situational na sinabi natin kanina, okay, yung situational self-esteem natin ay magagawa natin isang situation na maganda or na maayos. That is Galatea effect. Ulitin natin. With Galatea effect, your perception affect your performance. Okay? Next would be Pygmalion effect. Okay? So, with this Pygmalion effect, an idea when you feel someone has confidence and trust placed in you, your self-esteem will increase, as well your performance. So, meaning to say, kay Pygmalion effect, kung nararamdaman mo, if you are the employee, na may tiwala sa iyo ang boss mo, okay, tataas din yung confidence mo regarding na magagawa mo yung isang bagay. Ganon si Pygmalion effect. Kasalungat siya ni Golem effect. Si Golem effect naman, when other people have negative expectation about you, your self-esteem will decrease as well your performance. So kung may naniniwala na hindi naman niya ito magagawa or hindi niya yan kaya, makakaapekto ngayon yung ginagawa, yung sabi ng mga ibang tao or ng negative perception ng ibang tao sa'yo, kaya hindi mo magagawa ng maganda or ng maayos yung bagay na kailangan mong matapos. Or yung certain task or yung situational natin kanina sinasabi. So how does it goes? We have here the Galatea effect, which means your perception about performance. Okay? So, example of Galatea effect is, I will do it because I know I can. Okay? So, nanggagaling ang Galatea effect sa intrinsic perception ng isang performer or ng isang individual or ng isang employee. Okay? Kapag sinabi nating Pygmalion effect, ito naman yung other people expectation about you. It's just a summarization lang ng kanina. Okay? Kung ang Galatea ay perception mo sa sarili mo, ang Pygmalion effect naman ay perception sa iyo ng ibang tao. That's why it affects your performance. Example, I will do it because my boss thinks I can. Okay? Kabaligtaran siya ng Golem effect. Kung positive si Pygmalion effect, negative naman si Golem effect. Okay? So, bakit kailangan malaman or itong foundation na to ng Galatea, Pygmalion, and Golem effect sa isang employee? It is very important as a psychologist or as an industrial organization psychologist to put or to strengthen or to reinforce the self-esteem of an individual, because it says on the according to the study as well na nakakaapekto ang pag-iisip ng isang employee kung magagawa niya ba or hindi yung isang performance. That is regarding to the perception. Okay? So, kung paano natin mag-perceive ang isang bagay, kung paano ini-expect ng ibang tao na gawin natin itong bagay na to, is nakakaapekto ito sa employee. That is why your teacher might always say to you na kaya mo yan, magagawa mo yan. That is example of Pygmalion effect. Naniniwala si teacher na magagawa ko to. That is why magagawa ko ito. Okay? Kung hindi naniniwala si teacher or ang boss na hindi niya kayang gawin ang experimental psychology, ang research, ibig sabihin, yung perception or yung expectation ng ibang tao ay makakaapekto ngayon sa outdoing ng isang empleyado or sa performance ng isang empleyado or ng isang students. Okay? So, yan yung core or pinakamalagang pag-usapan sa motivation. The Galatea effect, it is your perception about your performance, and the Pygmalion effect is your other people expectation about you, and the Golem effect is kabaligtaran siya ng Pygmalion. It's a negative behavior or negative thoughts of expectation from the other people about you. That's why it affects your performance. And we also have intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. So, with intrinsic motivation, they will seek to perform well because they either enjoy performing the actual task or enjoy the challenge or successfully completing the task or completing the actual task. Okay? So, when they are extrinsically motivated, they don't particularly enjoy the task but are motivated to perform well to receive some type of reward or to avoid negative consequences. Okay? So, it's very clear the definition of intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. So, extrinsic motivation could be a pay, salary, or extrinsic motivation is punishment. Okay? Or the negative consequences that an employee could face due sa certain situation. Okay? So, according to the study, people who are intrinsically motivated or yung mga tao na hindi intrinsically motivated, yung mga tao daw na intrinsically motivated, hindi nila kinakailangan ng salary. Mas nade-demotivate daw ang tao kung mas magkakaroon sila ng salary or ng reward with that specific thing. Okay? So, ulitin natin. Sabi dito, sa libro ni Amod, ay yung mga intrinsic motivated individual, ito yung pwedeng maaring okay na sila nung nagagawa nila yung isang task niya. Motivated sila kasi mamaya itatakal natin yun. Okay? Or sa next lesson, itatakal natin. Halimbawa ng intrinsic motivation is that naniniwala ako na andito ko sa isang situation na to dahil ako lang ang makakapaggawa nito at walang ibang gagawa nito kundi sa akin. Okay, that is intrinsic motivation. Motivated ka na, naniniwala ka na, ikaw lang may kakayahan na magawa yung isang bagay na yun sa isang work field. Kaya, mas gagawin mo yung task na yun or mas pagbubutihin mo. Okay? Naniniwala ako na obligasyon ko as an empleyado or as a student, okay? Na kung ikaw ay student, ay mag-aral ng mabuti. Kasi naniniwala ako na walang ibang makakatulong sa akin kundi sarili ko lang pagdating ng panahon. That is intrinsic motivation. Or simpleng sa extrinsic naman, when you say extrinsic, diba? Ito yung panglabas. Motivated ka because of pay. If you are a student, motivated ka because of the grades. Alright? So, that will be the two. And according to research, ulitin natin na kapag daw ang mga taong intrinsic motivated ay nakaka-receive ng mga rewards and pay, mas bumababa yung satisfaction nila. Okay? Sa isang bagay. Or mas nade-demotivate sila. Kasi daw, mga intrinsic na individual, motivated, ay hindi nila kailangan pa ng salary, pay, and so on. Now, we are moving forward to needs for achievement and power. So, for needs for achievement and power, this is a theory developed by Cleveland, or McClelland, rather. He suggests that employees differ in the extent to which they are motivated by the end of achievement and affiliation and power. Employees who have strong need for achievement are motivated by jobs that are challenging and over which they have some control. Okay? So, ang mga tao daw na may strongly motivated for need for achievement ay ito yung mga tao na kapag sa palagay nila na challenging ang isang task, mas mamomotivate sila na gawin na maayos ang certain task. Okay? So, kapag mas mababa ang challenge na nakukuha ng isang employee dun sa isang task, edi mas bumababa yung performance nila. Okay? We also have need for affiliation. In contrast, employees who have a strong need affiliation are motivated by jobs in which they can work with and help other people. Okay? So, motivated sila. It's because of need for affiliation kasi mas natutulungan nila yung tao. Halimbawa, motivated ako na gawin ang pagtuturo at mag-entertain ng student because of motivated ako for affiliation. Mas motivate ako na makakatulong ako sa mga students ko, kaya mas kailangan pagbatihin ko ang pagtuturo ko. Okay? Same goes with an employee. Motivated ka in a sense of need of affiliation would be nakakatulong ka dun sa company. Okay? At nakikita mo sa sarili mo na walang ibang gagawa nito kundi ako lang. Okay? Nakakatulong ako sa ibang tao. Nakakatulong ako sa mga co-employee ko. Gagawin ko ito na maayos or maganda, papasok ko na maaga. It's because of para hindi matambakan yung gawain ng employee, yung mga ka-workmates ko. That is need for affiliation. Next would be need for power. Employees who have strong need for power are motivated by a desire to influence others rather than simply to be successful. Okay? Alright, so malinaw ang definition ng need for achievement, need for affiliation, and strong need of power. Okay, so let's move on to job expectation. A discrepancy between what an employee expected a job to be like and the reality of the job could affect motivation and satisfaction. Example would be a recruiter tells an applicant how much fun employees have at a particular company. Okay? Sabi daw ni employer na kapag nakapasok ka dito sa company nito, ang mangyayari sa'yo ay makakakuha ka ng magandang sense of belongingness and mas mapopromote ka kasi ito daw workplace na to is nakakapag-promote sila in less than 1 year. Okay? Or less than 2 years, nagpo-promote sila or mabilis yung promotion. If hindi or nagkaroon ng discrepancy upon hiring or upon selection, tapos iba yung ina-expect mo dun sa job na mangyayari at hindi ka na-promote within 2 years, ang mangyayari nun ay hindi ma-met yung expectation mo. Dahil sa hindi na-met ang expectation mo, maging demotivated ka or makakaramdam ka ng unmotivated. Okay? Next would be job characteristics. Okay? By the way, para makita natin yung job expectation, pwede tayo magbigay ng natakil natin last lessons, which is the realistic job interview. Para maiwasan yun, ay kailangan magbigay natin yung realistic job interview na ibinibigay natin sa employee para at the end, hindi mag-expect yung employee kung hindi naman pala talaga ay ka-promote, hindi ka naman talaga mapopromote within 2 years. Ang mangyayari, if hindi ka sa job expectation at hindi nasakto or nakuha yun, ang mangyayari doon is it could be lead to absenteeism, turnover, na i-discuss din natin mamaya. Okay, so job characteristics. Okay, according to job characteristic theory, it suggests that certain characteristic of a job will make the job more or less satisfying depending on their particular needs of the worker. Sasabi kasi dito sa job characteristic theory na dapat daw ay lahat ng full potential skill ng isang employee ay nagagawa niya. Okay, halimbawa, nag-apply siya bilang mm, nag-apply ang isang empleyado bilang concierge or sa hotel, sabihin natin receptionist. Sa receptionist ay maraming skills ang magagawa ng isang employee. Ganun niya perceiving yung sarili niya. Okay? However, ang pinapagawa lang ng empleyado or not ni empleyado but ni employer ay mag-answer lang siya ng telepono. If ganito yung mangyari sa kanyang paulit-ulit, hindi masasatisfy yung concept ng pagkatao or yung skill niya or hindi magagamit lahat ng skill niya at it can lead to low motivation. Okay? That is the job characteristic theory. So, kaya kailangan daw para mas ma-motivate yung employee ay dapat ma-satisfy nito ang mga skills niya. Okay? Magawa niya na maayos ang isang bagay, not na maayos, but ma-exertan niya ng iba pang qualities. Not just by answering a telephone. Maybe documentation will do. Kung magaling siya, he or she is keen to detail. Okay? So, hindi lang dapat nagpo-focus sa isang task ng isang empleyado para maiwasan yung ma-demotivate yung isang employee. Okay? So, next would be have the employee's value and expectation met. Okay? We have here value, want, and expect. So, with this thing, okay, nakaka-apekto ang expect, nakaka-apekto ang want ng employee at saka yung value ng employee sa motivation niya. If in case na ang ina-expect ni employee ay hindi niya na-meet upon dun sa scenario na yun, ang mangyayari doon is hindi siya magkakaroon ng proper motivation. Yung value, if the value or hindi naging mahalaga para sa employee yung isang bagay or yung isang task na in-applyan niya or hindi ganun ka laki yung tingin niya dun sa work na ginagalawan niya, is makaka-apekto din ito sa motivation. Halimbawa, simple lang naman trabaho ko, hindi ko naman to ganun ka okay lang naman kung malita ako kasi wala naman masyadong mangyayari kapag nag-late ako ng 30 minutes or 1 hour, ito lang naman yung mga gagawin ko. Okay? So, same goes with want. Kung ang want ni employee, halimbawa, is the salary lang kung bakit siya pumapasok and nakuha niya yung proper salary or nakuha niya yung proper goal niya for this month, halimbawa, gusto niya bumili ng iPhone. Okay? Kung nakabili siya ng iPhone, pwedeng bumaba because that is the want Yung feeling ng employee, ito lang yung kakayan na kaya siya pumapasok na maayos. Okay? Kung nabili na niya yung gusto niya, nakaipon na siya, pwedeng bumaba yung motivation ng employee. Depending dun sa want niya. Kung may mas bigger picture of want si employee, mas magiging motivated si employee depending on the want. If you still have question, you may ask me during synchronous. Okay? So, and also, we are already familiar with this theory, the basic needs, okay, ni Maslow, or the hierarchy of needs. Okay? Depending on needs, values, and wants, or kasakop pa rin ni needs, values, and wants, physiological needs, safety needs, love and belongingness, self-esteem, and also self-actualization. Okay? So, imay natin for biological needs, Maslow taught that an individual first seek to satisfy the biological needs such as food, water, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction. Okay? Alright. So, kapag tinanong ng isang employer sa employee, gaano mo ba kagusto ang trabaho? Pwedeng sagutin ng employee, hindi, wala naman ako marereklamo eh. Kasi nababayaran naman ito ang mga bills ko. Nabibili ko naman yung mga gusto ko. So, an employee is motivated by the physiological needs. Okay? So, punta tayo sa safety needs. With this thing, okay, after biological needs have been met, a job that merely provides food and shelter will no longer be satisfying. Employees then become concerned about meeting their safety needs. That is, they may work in an unsafe coal mine to earn enough money to ensure their family survival. But once their family has food and shelter, they will remain satisfied with their jobs only if the workplace is safe. Okay? So, it's not only about the personal security, employment, resources, and health and property sa safety needs. Inclusive din doon sa psychological safety. For example, okay, public sector employees often list job security as a main benefit to their jobs. A benefit so strong that they will stay in a lower paying public sector jobs rather than take higher paying yet less secure jobs in private sector. So, pwede daw na ang isang empleyado, okay, na na kahit hindi safe or sa safety needs ay applicable, halimbawa, ang isang nagma-minor, okay? Kung hindi nabibigyan ng protection isang minor, pwede naman din na psychological safety ang maibigay doon. Not just by only the safety needs in regards to personal, security, but psychological safety is also could include dito. Next would be the social needs. Okay? So, we have social needs. Ang sabi naman dito is kinakailangan daw na ang isang employee ay marunong makapag-socialize or kung mas higher yung socialization niya at sa employee ay gusto nyo nakikipag-socialize sa tao, and that is a need also. Okay? We also have ego needs. Yung ego na in a sense na when social needs have been met and satisfied, employees concentrate next on the meeting their ego needs. These are needs for recognition, success, and an organization could help to satisfy them through praise, rewards, and promotion. Okay? So, ano-ano mga sakop na ego needs? Yun yung mga reward, success, promotion, salary, okay, makilala sa iba, that is in line sa ego needs. We also have self-actualization. Even when the employees have friends, have earned rewards, and are making a relatively high salary, they may not be completely motivated by their jobs because their self-actualization may not be satisfied yet. Okay? These needs are fifth and final level of Maslow. Needs for hierarchy, that is the needs for hierarchy. And self-actualization might be best defined in U.S. Army recruiting the slogan like, be all that you can be. Okay? So, meaning to say, kung after going before self-actualization, okay, at hindi na-meet tong needs na to, magkakaroon ng self-actualization si employee kung sapat na ba ang trabaho ko, okay ba itong ginagawa ko, am I going to burn out, and so on and so forth. Okay? However, sabi ni Adler, hindi naman daw kinakailangan na ma-meet mo yung hierarchy of needs. Kasi pwede din naman na ma-meet mo yung isa, pero hindi mo naman kailangan ng isa. Okay, ma-meet mo yung physiological need, okay lang naman kahit di mo ma-meet yung self-actualization or yung safety need or yung love and belongingness or pagiging sociable mo. Basta ma-meet mo yung isa is okay na. That is why mas napaikli ngayon si hierarchy of needs by this ERG, meaning would be existence, relatedness, and growth. Okay, so for existence, basic material existent requirements of a human. Okay? So, for that one, same goes with physiological needs or the basic necessities of a human person. Relatedness naman is the desire of people to have or maintain an important interpersonal relationship. Okay? And for the growth, it is an intrinsic desire for personal development. Okay? So, I hope that natakal na natin yun kay Adler sa TOP. So, binalikan lang natin kasi sakto siya for motivation. Okay? We also have the two-factor theory. According to Herzberg, need theory postulating that there are two factors involved in job satisfaction. The first one would be the hygiene factors and the second is the motivators. Ang hygiene factors, it is a job-related elements that result from but do not involve the job itself. Example, pay and benefits are consequences for consequences of work but do not involve the work itself. Okay? So, kay motivators naman, an element of a job that concern the actual duties performed by the employee. Okay? Alright, for hygiene factors, this will include the pay, security, co-workers, working condition, company policy, work schedule, and supervisor. Himayin natin. For that is, for hygiene factor, si motivator naman would be motivated si employee because he wants growth, he wants new challenges, he wants achievements, he is motivated because of interesting at work. Okay? So, kung si hygiene factors or kung si employee ay demotivated or unmotivated because of hindi niya nami-meet ang salary, pero nami-meet naman ni motivators, which is the kahit ni nami-meet ni employee yung salary na gusto niya na kasama sa hygiene factors, kung maganda naman yung nakukuha niya in motivators, halimbawa, hindi niya nga nami-meet yung pay levels, pero sa task ay nag-enjoy naman siya kasi gusto niya yung mga task na may mga challenges. Okay? Mako-compensate ngayon ni motivators yung hygiene factors. Okay? So, that is the scenario. Another thing would be sa hygiene factors. Okay? Halimbawa, kabaligtaran naman, hindi ka na-challenge or naboboringan ka sa inline to sa motivators. Halimbawa, naboboringan ka dun sa type of work at na hindi ka na motivate or na-unmotivated ka or demotivated ka because of paulit-ulit na lang yung ginagawa mo, walang bago. Pero kung ang hygiene factors mo ay ang co-workmates mo, hindi ka nga, nauumay ka nga, or it sounds na paulit-ulit na yung ginagawa mo, or nagiging robotic ka na sa field na ginagawa mo, pero kung nakakompensate naman to na masaya ka naman sa mga ka-workplace mo, maging neutral ang decision or ang outcome na maging outcome ng work mo. Okay? So, ganun siya. Kahit na ang hygiene factors mo ay mababa, pero kung mataas naman ang motivators mo, pwedeng maging neutral ang motivation mo regarding sa work. Kung mababa naman sa hygiene factors such as the salary na nakukuha mo, pero kung mas na-challenge or nag-enjoy ka naman dun sa type of work na ginagalawa mo, pwedeng maging neutral ang motivation results mo. Yun ang sinasabi sa two-factor theory ni Herzberg. Okay? Okay, so if we're setting a goal, dapat we are following SMART. Okay, so goal setting, it's a method of increasing performance in which employees are given specific performance goals to aim for SMART or specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. Naturo ko na to sa paggawa ng objective ng module for intervention sa experimental psychology. And I know that most of you already know this one. For specific, dapat yung goal natin na gusto natin mangyari is specific. Hindi pwedeng malabo. Measurable, dapat makukuha natin siya depending dun sa skills and characteristics that we have. Attainable, also. Relevant dapat siya sa yung sinet nating goals sa gusto natin mangyari, and time-based. Ibig sabihin, may time frame tayo na dapat with this kind of time frame, makuha natin yung gusto nating goal na sinet natin before we enter the company. According to research, kapag hindi mo daw nakuha yung goal mo within the span of 2 years while working in that company or hindi ka na-promote, it might be because of hindi para sa yung company na and you need to look for another type of work. Okay? And then, again, if you will be looking for another type of work after 2 years, edi set another goal again. Okay? So, wag natin kakalimutan yung time base. Time base is necessary. It's because of nagbibigay ito sa atin ng urgeness to work or a motivation na mas work lalo. Okay? So, are employees rewarded for achieving goals? We have timing of the incentive. For timing of this incentive, research indicates that the reinforcer or the punisher is most effective if it occurs soon or after the performance of the behavior. What does it mean? So, meaning to say, kapag daw ay, halimbawa, may ginawa kang isang maganda dun sa isang company. Okay? Sabi daw na kailangan if may ginawa kang maganda or naset yung goal mo. Okay? Naset na yung goal mo. Na-promote ka. But the pay is hindi ganun kabilis na ibigay. Ang mangyayari daw nun ay mababaliwala yung promotion mo kasi imbis na mag-improve ka, kaya na-promote ka, it's mas maging urge ka pumasok na maayos, mas gagawin mong magaling sa trabaho. Kapag hindi agad nabigay yung pay salary, halimbawa, na dapat ibinibigay ng company, if you will be promoted, madidevalue ngayon or magiging hadlang yung promotion mo for you to become motivated. Okay? Same goes with the punishment. Halimbawa, if you are having consecutive absences in regards sa company at wala namang ginagawa ang company sa iyo to give you a memo or something like that, ay mababaliwala ngayon yung goal, yung mababaliwala ngayon yung punishment na maaaring na mabigay sa'yo kasi hindi man nila binibigay yun ng ahead of time, not ahead of time, or right after na makapag-occur ka ng absences or consecutive absences. Okay, so that will be the timing of incentive. So it's not only, when we say incentive, it's not always about giving a reward. Punishment could lead for that one as well. Okay, so dapat if someone do good, appraise that person right after doing a good, because kung hindi mo siya mapapraise agad, would be, ang maglilid din is mababaliwala ngayon, or it will be a great hindrance para sa motivation ng employee to do good again or to do better with that specific time frame. Okay, with that specific kind of task. Okay, next would be contingency of the consequences. Okay, if it's not possible to immediately reward or punish a behavior, it should be at least be made clear that the employee understand the behavior that brought reward or punishment. Alright, so very understandable. Bigay mo yung reason kung bakit hindi ka nabigyan ng incentive. It's for you to become or para mas ma-understand ng isang employee kung ano nangyari. Okay? Next would be time of incentive used. We have here what is first the time incentive use? Okay, for Primoc principle, also known as relatively theory of reinforcement, state that reinforcement, let me repeat this one, is relative and thus a supervisor can reinforce an employee with something that on the surface does not appear to be reinforcer. Okay, here's the thing. An example of this one, and we already know the Primoc principle. Okay, I know that you tackled this one several times in psychology subjects. How are you going to apply Primoc principle in an industry setting? The thing would be, the company knows that giving an incentive or a small things of salary couldn't appreciate the employee. Halimbawa, papasok na maaga si employee sa isang work or gusto niya na mapataas ang behavior or attendance or maging motivated si employee. Okay? So, gusto niya, halimbawa, in a BPO setting, gusto niya na para maging productive si employee or motivated, ma-reach niya yung mga stats niya. Okay? Ma-reach niya yung hindi siya pala absent, magkaroon siya ng mataas na score or gawin na maayos yung customer service niya. Okay? At alam ni employer na hindi na ma-appreciate ni employee yung kapag tinaasan ko siya ng incentive or kapag binigyan ko siya ng incentive. Halimbawa, nag-add ka ng 100 pesos, 200 or 500 or 1,500 or 3,000 is not enough para kay employee. Okay? Babaliwalaan, alam mo sa sarili mo, if you will be the supervisor, alam mo sa sarili mo na babaliwalain naman ni employee itong 3,000 na to. So, ang gagawin ko is this. Para ma-strengthen ko yung behavior niya or para mas ma-reinforce siya na pumasok na maaga, gumanda ang stats niya, ang gagawin niya ngayon is this. I-connect niya yung kung sino yung may pinakamataas na less absenteeism, less late, less yung mga incident report na nagawa sa loob ng isang buwan, siya ay may option na pumili ng kanyang sariling schedule. Okay? So, with that sense, according to this one, ay sabi dito, the supervisor can reinforce an employee with something that on surface does not appear to be the reinforcer. So, meaning to say, gagalingan ng employee ngayon na pumasok ng maaga, papasok ngayon si employee na maaga, i-reach niya yung mga kailangan niyang scorecard, okay, kung may ganong qualities, or bababaan niya yung mga incident report na natatanggap niya sa isang buwan para makuha niya yung best schedule na gusto niya or yung preferred schedule na gusto niya dun sa work. That is a kind of That is an example of pre-Mach principle. Okay? Kung gusto natin mapataas ang isang behavior ni employee, titingnan natin at hindi naman mabavalue ni employee yung mga incentive that we are giving or hindi, walang kakayahan makapagbigay ng too much incentive yung isang employer, or para kay employer, hindi naman binavalue ng employee kapag nagbigay siya or sila ng ganitong klaseng incentive. Ang gagawin niya is ipapartner ni employer yung behavior doon sa gusto niya mangyari para tumaas ang desired outcome na gusto ni employer. Okay? If you still have question, please do ask me during synchronous. Alright? So that is the pre-Mach principle. Also, we have here financial reward. The financial reward, it is a financial incentive that can be used to motivate better worker performance, either by making variable pay an integral part of an employee compensation package or using financial reward as a bonus for accomplishment or certain goals. The financial reward is a kind of incentive that we can provide sa employee. Halimbawa, if that employee reach a certain goal or meron siyang quota sa isang buwan, the employer could provide, if they are capable enough, to add or to give a bonus for that certain task na ginawa ni employee. Pwede din naman na magkaroon ng commission, okay, and lots of things na kaakibat kay financial reward by doing the desired behavior or desired outcome. So, this is an example of pre-Mach principle. Sorry, I forgot to show this one to you earlier. Kung gusto natin mapataas yung behavior and we know, halimbawa, gusto nating pumasok si employer ng maayos or tama sa oras sa isang company, ang gagawin at alam natin na itong mga reinforcer na to ay makakapagpataas sa kanya sa desired behavior o makakapagpababa, that is an example of pre-Mach principle. Okay? So, magbibigay ako ng money every time a month kung wala kang absences. Okay? It's a reinforcement. Makukuha mo yung schedule na gusto mo for a month kapag kapag na-meet mo yung goal mo. Kasi alam ni employer na if si employee ay walang epekto sa kanya yung pagbibigay ng recognition or pag-appraise, hanap siya na ng paraan na kaakibat doon sa certain kind of, or doon sa specific behavior na ginagawa ng employee. Okay. Another thing would be travel. Pwede tayong magbigay ng specific travel. Halimbawa, many organizations are offering travel awards rather than financial reward. Okay? Pwedeng magbigay ka para ma-motivate sa employee na gawin yung isang certain task is, halimbawa, sa isang company ay December, halos lahat, alam pa, pag December is maraming uma-absence because of nakuha na yung 13-month pay, nakuha na yung bonus. Ang gagawin ngayon ng employee, hanap siya na another thing na makakapag-motivate kay employee, which is the travel kind of reward, na kapag wala kayong absent, kapag wala kayong late, kapag na-meet yung quota natin sa isang buwan, kung sino may pinakamataas na stats or pinakamataas na achieve, pinaka-onting late or walang late, ay makakuha siya ng travel package. Something like that. Okay, so those are kind of rewards. We can also use of individual-based versus to group incentives. Individual incentive plan. Okay, we have pay for performance. Pay performance according to how much they will individually produce. Okay, pwede tayo magbigay ng ganun. Halimbawa, kapag nagtatahi ka ng basahan, halimbawa, or madami kang naayos sa computer, babayaran ka sa dami ng naayos mo na computer. Okay, so Kay merit naman, incentive based on the performance appraisal scores rather than on such objective performance to measure sales and productivity. Also code this pay for performance as year or earnings at task. Remember that, years, earning at task. Okay? Another example for this merit pay, by the way, example would be sales scores. Ano yung bawa nagtatrabaho ko sa isang sales? If you reach this kind of quota, example would be 1 million if you're selling cell phones or gadgets in a department store. Okay? If na-reach mo yung quota na yun, you will be receiving an additional salary. It could be tataasan ng ang health card allowance mo or madagdagan ka ng isa pang vacation leave or sick leave, okay, na kung saan magagamit mo kapag kailangan mo. Okay? Ang pinagkaiba ni pay performance kay merit pay is that ang pay for performance ay binabayaran ka depending on the number that you have produced. Kay merit pay, if you reach the qualifications or the goal na kinakailangan ng isang organization, example would be the sales, ay makaka-receive ka ng incentives. Okay? Ganun siya. Or additional bonus. Not an additional bonus is redundant. Or makaka-receive ka, you'll be receiving a bonus lang. Wala pa lang additional. Kasi bonus is an additional na. Sorry for that word. It's redundant. Okay? We also have group incentive plan, profit sharing. It's a direct or indirect payments to employees that depend on company's profitability in addition to employees' regular salary and bonuses. Okay, so that is profit sharing. Okay. We also have gain sharing. Employees are paid a bonus based on improvements in a group productivity. Okay. Halimbawa, kung meron tayong pay for performance at saka merit pay for individual, meron tayong group incentive plan na kung saan kapag na-reach nyo ang quota, if you will be working as a group, halimbawa, example natin again sa sales ng isang cellphone, okay? Kung ma-reach ng isang buong branch, halimbawa, SM Bacoor, na-reach nila yung quota ng Vivo doon na 2 million sa isang buwan, lahat sila makakatanggap ng incentive. Okay? Number one, for that one, as what I was saying earlier, is the profit sharing. Direct or indirect payments to employees that depend on the company's profitability in addition to the employees' regular salary and bonuses. Okay? So, dadagdagan yung salary nila na pwedeng paghati-hatian nila. Halimbawa, if you are gaining 10,000 a month, okay, dahil sa na-reach yung quota, meron kayong sa buong branch nyo, meron kayong makukuhang additional 5,000 na kung saan paghati-hatian nyo. Sa gain sharing naman, employees are paid bonus based on the improvements in the group productivity. Halimbawa, kung low yung scorecard mo for this month at nag-improve ka, okay, magkakaroon kayo ng isang buong grupo ng incentive. Sa stock option naman, employees are given the option to buying stock in the future at the price of the stock when the option were granted. Okay, usually applicable ito in United States, itong stock option. Okay, para sa mga sa stock holders. Okay? Next would be use of positive incentives or rewards and versus negative incentives or the punishment. Okay? By the way, before we move on that one, we have expectancy theory na kung saan yung ina-expect sa'yo and then the performance will be divided by or do a math, pero hindi ko na siya itatackle. Expectancy theory. Na kung mas mataas ang level of ang ginawa mo compare doon sa ni-expect ng company sa'yo, divide mo yon by giving an incentive. Okay, but we're not going to talk about that one. Okay? By the way, andito tayo ngayon sa use of positive incentive at saka rewards. Okay? Sorry, ng positive incentives or rewards and negative incentives or the punishment. Alright, so fair of reward system or the equity. We have here the equity theory. Sa equity theory, sinasabi dito na kung hindi tayo na treat or ang pakikitungo sa atin or ang pagbibigay sa atin ng salary or incentive ng isang company is hindi akma dun sa nare-receive ng iba, is that mas gagalingan natin yung isang bagay hanggat sa makompensate yung treatment na yon. Okay, so when you say equity, it must be equal. It is based on the premise that our levels of motivation and job satisfaction are related to how fairly we believe we are treated in comparison with others. Okay, so we are motivated if our bosses or if our teachers treated us fairly. Kung hindi fair ang treatment na nare-receive ng isang empleyado, is that pababa yung motivation nila in regards dun sa company or towards dun sa bosses nila. Okay, so if we still have question, please do ask me during synchronous, and that is the end of the lesson, session number 9. Thank you for listening, by the way, again.